Hi everyone, I realised that in my first two videos I referred to Australia as the land down under. I'm sorry, that's really easy and lazy of me to say, especially twice. So today I'll say we're going to Australia, the land of angry animals. I don't think that sounds as catchy though, does it? You guys love the first two videos that I did talking about the amazing and very creepy stories of this incredible country. Here's some even better ones for you. My name is Danny Burke and this is the top 10 scary Australian urban legends part 3. Starting off at number 10 now, we have the NULLARBOR NYMPH. The NULLARBOR plain is a vast semi-arid plain in South Australia. Its harsh climate and terrain has left it mostly uninhabited. Some say that there is one person who definitely lives in that land though, the NULLARBOR NYMPH. She is said to be a semi-naked woman who lives among the kangaroos there. The first sighting of her was on December 26, 1971. A group of professional kangaroo shooters reported seeing the half-naked woman among several kangaroos from Western Australia in Eucla, near South Australia's border. They captured this picture that matches their description of a white blonde woman wearing kangaroo skins and grabbing a kangaroo by its tail. In the years since then, more and more people have reported seeing her. The following year, the shooters said that this was all just a hoax, but others say that's just a cover-up and that the NULLARBOR NYMPH is still out there on the plains, perhaps one of many, just grabbing kangaroo tails. Strange. Moving on to number 9 now, we have the Devil's Pool. That's the ominous name of this pool of water near the town of Babinda in Queensland, Australia. Some people trek through the rainforest there to see this picturesque view of the Babinda boulders and the Devil's Pool below them. Others go there to investigate the gruesome history behind its name. It's been feared by Aboriginal people there for centuries. One of their stories says that there was once a young beautiful woman in the local tribe named Ulana. Ulana married a tribal elder named Warunu. It didn't last long. Ulana met a handsome younger man from another tribe and ran away with him. Warunu sent out search parties to bring them back. They caught up to the couple at Babinda Boulders, right next to the pool of water. Faced with death or a forced marriage, Ulana chose death. She flung herself into the torrid water below. Nobody saw her surface again, and they say that Ulana never really left the water, that her soul still inhabits the water, drawing men into their deaths. This legend would have remained relatively unknown if it weren't for one thing. Since 1959, at least 17 people have drowned at the pool under strange circumstances. Some say it's just the dangerous water flow, others point to the origin story of the Devil's Pool. Next up at number 8 now, we have Sarah's house. This is the story of a woman called Sarah Marshall. No, not that one. This is a different one. This one was a British convict who was shipped out to Australia to serve times for her crime in the 19th century. Once she had her freedom back, she began to live a normal life. She met a man called John Simpson and the couple had 8 children together. One night though, Sarah was on her way home in Castlereagh, New South Wales. A group of men stalked and attacked her, brutally murdering Sarah before leaving her remains near her house. Ever since that day, locals have said that Sarah haunts the town graveyard, seeking revenge on the living. People report seeing a white figure drifting around the cemetery, and others have heard footsteps that aren't their own. Some have told experiences of their cars not turning on or off. That can be extra creepy if you're trying to leave and Sarah just won't let you. No thanks. Moving on to number 7 now, we have the Adelaide Arcade. I like how that one rolls off the tongue. Adelaide Arcade. That's where the fun ends though for now, because this is apparently Australia's oldest shopping arcade and people say it's haunted. The legend goes that in 1887 the caretaker of this arcade, Frank Clooney, was investigating a flickering light when he fell into an electrical generator and was mangled to death. The father of 5's body wasn't found till some time later. It didn't take long for people to start saying that they felt his presence in the arcade, walking among them, quietly watching them. Over the years, people have got quite used to his footsteps around the place. I'm glad they're comfortable being haunted on a daily basis. I wouldn't even like an annual haunting. Is that a thing? Moving on to number 6 now, we have the mythical panther. In the last video I talked about the ghost of the Blue Mountains near Sydney. Well, it seems like there may also be another scary being there. For many years, farmers, wildlife rangers, residents and conspiracy theorists alike have believed in the existence of a black panther living in the Blue Mountains. They say it feeds on livestock and wallabies, and they provided photos of scratchings on trees, scat samples, hair and paw prints as proof of the beast's existence. For many years though, the claims were dismissed. Then, in May 20 2018, this picture was posted to a Facebook group that claimed to prove once and for all that a panther really is real. However, before it could enter the realm of facts, some people said that a picture had cropped up before when people tried to claim there was a panther over in Victoria, a whole other different place. This plunged the panther back into the land of myths and urban legends, still prowling in the dark. Coming at number 5 now, we have the Wakenhurst Parkway. This is a road north of Sydney that has gained a real reputation for the paranormal. In 2014, a documentary crew went there to make a show called The Parkway Hauntings. They aimed to take believers and skeptics alike to the reserve along the road with a spiritual medium to investigate reports of paranormal activity in the area. Things went disastrously wrong though, when not long into filming, believers and skeptics started falling ill and vomiting. Some sensed presences around them, and others refused to ever return to that site again. The filmmaker Bianca Biassi said that she had to return to do some more shots, but that she wasn't looking forward to it. There have been countless stories online of a girl in a white dress that appears on the Middle Creek Bridge there. Perhaps even more scary though are the stories of a nun apparition that just sits in the backseat of cars. As far as I'm aware, that documentary did get made in the end, so if you're interested to know more about this, go and check out the Parkway Hauntings. Next up at number 4 now, we have Jack the Ripper's resting place. For many years now, there has been an urban legend that the famous British serial killer Jack the Ripper may have escaped the UK and lived out his life in Australia. They say he was actually a man named Frederick Bailey Deeming, who sailed off to Australia after he gruesomely murdered his wife and children and buried them under his kitchen floor. He was a gas fitter by trade who began hunting his next victim not long after the murders took place. He continued his killing spree in Melbourne before disappearing into the Australian wilderness. Eventually he was caught by the authorities and hanged. His story gave birth to the myth that because of the similarities between the cases, Jack the Ripper was actually Frederick Deeming. There is also the fact that Jack the Ripper's murders stopped right around the time that Deeming left Britain. Is that a coincidence? Or do you think this urban myth is onto something? Next up at number 3 now, we have the Poinciana woman. This legend comes from Darwin and many people there are familiar with it. According to the story, many years ago a woman was attacked and raped by fishermen at East Point in Darwin. The horrific event sent her down a spiral and she became deranged and lost. Her misery grew unbearable when she learned that she had become pregnant from the attack. In her anguish, she hung herself from the branch of a Poinciana tree. Locals believe that the Poinciana trees in the area have been cursed ever since that fateful day. They say the woman became a wraith who stalks and kills men at night. First she draws them in by appearing as a beautiful woman with long hair and a white robe. Then when she's got them where she wants them, she transforms into a hideous wild-haired eagle-clawed hag. The man only gets a moment to look at her before she tears into him to feed on his steaming guts. People have reported hearing her shrill cries at night, possibly a sign that she's killed another victim. Also, it's said that you can actually summon her if you want to by spinning around 3 times on a moonless night and calling out her name. You've only got yourself to blame if you try that though. Moving on to number 2 now, we have the Razor. This is a short tale that many Australians will be familiar with. For many years, Magic Mountain was a water park in Adelaide that was extremely popular. During the scorching Australian summers, thousands would flock there to ride the slides and enjoy the many attractions including mini golf, bumper boats, dodgems and even a video game arcade. The park was relatively normal by any standards and it served as a popular hangout for locals. Then, in the 1980s, a rumour began to spread. People said that one night a group of men broke into the park and attached razor blades to the slides that the children used. Legend says that despite staff trying to remove every single one of these razor blades from the slides the next day, one of them still remained. It injured a child apparently. Nobody knows how badly, not much more was ever said about it. The park has been closed since 2004, but the legend of the razors is still talked about to this day. And finally, number 1 now, we have the GOSFORD glyphs. This is the story of hieroglyphs found at Carryong on the Central Coast. The carvings caused quite the stir in the conspiracy theory community. The 300 engravings were found on 2 sandstone walls in the 1970s. Some say they were carved thousands of years ago by ancient Egyptian sailors. They depict boats, animals, stick men, and 2 are said to be the name of kings, one of them being Khufu. If the carvings were proven to be genuine, it would produce some big questions about how exactly these ancient Egyptians managed to travel some 9,000 miles across ocean and land to a continent that wasn't even known by people in the old world back then. Proof of their genuine nature would also be a big deal for those who believe that ancient civilizations were far more advanced advanced than we're being led to believe. Academics and experts have dismissed the carvings as fake though, and I'd have to agree with them. Sorry, that just put a damper on the end of the video. That's just my opinion though. Which of these do you think had the most truth to it? What country shall we go to next in this series? How many of our viewers are actually Australian? So many questions, so little time. For now, I'll just say thanks for watching as always guys. My name is Danny Burke and I will see you all in the next video.